We're moving on to questions.
Well, definitely, the last couple of days just been debriefing from the game and preparing for a road contest at Mississippi State, which is going to be a tough contest. There's no doubt about it. Chris Jans is someone that I respect, obviously, a great coach. They've done a great and tremendous job of building the infant stages of their program as well. Um, and they have some great talent. There's no doubt. Starkville is a presence in itself when it comes to tough road venues, and their style of play complements that as well.
Dennis, when you look at Mississippi State, I mean, they play a lot of low scoring games, have a reputation for being really good on defense. What do you see out of them in looking at film on that side of the ball and what makes them tough to attack?
Well, they have a lot of versatility as well. They do a good job across all categories. They do a great job of offensively doing the things that they need to do, whether it's to post feed or make the shots or attack the paint. They essentially play a style that I think has, without a doubt, produced great defensive numbers. And whenever you can do that, you look at what you do offensively and defensively, and they do those things.
Hey, Dennis, Tolu Smith has had a really good year so far. Just what kind of challenges are there with going against him?
Yeah, he's a all conference guy. There's no doubt about it. Someone that is respected throughout our conference, throughout our league. Very versatile. Has great length, but also great ball handling ability, and he can shoot it better than his numbers predict. But more importantly, he can put the ball in the basket, and he does a great job of staying out of foul trouble.
Coach, I know we've asked you about this before, but when y'all are going up against a team who likes to play at a much slower pace than you guys, it seems like one of the ways y'all are able to speed them up is to kind of have a lead on them late in the game and make them play with a sense of urgency. Is that something that is one of your focuses for this game, is to try to get Mississippi State uncomfortable with how fast y'all are playing?
No, I think is ultimately the tale of two systems, and we have to try to play our style. They have to try to play theirs. No one can right now predict which way the whistle blows, and sometimes that can have an outcome or a predictor in those points, but also the style that stands out the most. I think, we don't try to do anything. We just try to give our very best from the beginning to the end. And, the game is a game of runs. And ultimately, Mississippi State has done a great job of, producing their runs as well. So, yes, the final score is the indicator of a win or loss. And there's so much that goes in between that from the jump ball to the end. So, we just have to do our job and go out and make sure we dial into the scouting report, personnel, but also make sure that we handle an away environment the right way.
Dennis, after the last game, you talked a little bit about, Kobe's mentality and kind of developing that in the offseason. What kind of change have you seen just in his confidence approach to the game over the, I guess 10 months now or so you've been around him?
Well, he's a great person. First and foremost, his mom, dad, they've done a great job pouring into him. But also, Kobe does a great job pouring into the authority around him, not just coaches but administrators and professors. And he's a great peer, right? When it comes down to as a student athlete, the responsibility you have across campus, he's involved in things. He does his job of living outside of the athletics silo. And, for me, you look at the kid and you know what his dreams and aspirations are, and you know what his work ethic that matches that. His work ethic matches where he wants to go and what he wants to accomplish. He lives in the moment and not too far ahead of himself. That takes the pressure off the big picture. And he's a great communicator when it comes down to, okay, identifying things that he can get better at, but also how to execute those things. He watches film. He cares about, the emotions of his teammates, and ultimately he's a guy with high empathy. So I encourage him all the time to just go out and give his very best and live a way that will make him proud when he reflect on his time. And you can only do that by, staying in the moment.
Coach.
I go.
Oh, thank you. Coach, you said after last game how you didn't love the way you handled the final 2 minutes.
Mhm.
When you're debriefing as a head coach, what makes you realize, oh, maybe I should have called a timeout, or maybe I should have subbed this guy in?
It's all accountability. And I just want our players to know that I'm accountable, and it's not always on them. That's one of our core values. So when you identify things, sometimes it's hindsight, right? Because you have to have the sort of data and information that supports the reason why I say what I've said. Now, if we would have inbounded the ball in a better way, then cool. But I'm absorbing the last two turnovers. I'm absorbing, the out of bounds and not executing. I have to absorb some of that and take it off the locker room. I take it off the locker room's responsibility. It's on me, and I don't put it on my staff. I had timeouts, and I just don't feel that I used them in the right way.
Back to Kobe real quick. I know you don't talk a lot about individual awards, and those aren't the goal, but I think, he was a preseason All-SEC player, but I'm curious if you see him as a guy that is entering that player of the year conversation in your conference.
Well, you can only look at the sum of those games that people vote on that. This is my first season in the SEC. Who are all the voters? Because I don't know. I
don't know either.
Just coaches? Is it the media? What is it?
I think there's one for both.
One for both, yeah.
See, I don't know that, because this is my first go around. Every conference is different. But sometimes you have to just focus on, your team goals, because if your team does things, the individual can win. We don't pride ourselves on one name being on any award. It belongs to our program, and we celebrate it that way. And our players will be the first ones to tell you what a rookie of the week or a player of the week or any kind of honor that takes place. It's a great thing for Kobe in the long run, but Kobe's more concerned about the short term. And the short term is playing and giving his very best and putting his team in a position where we can win ball games. And that's ultimately what his focus is. Sometimes that meaning individual focus can take you away from certain things, but that's not Kobe's mentality. He has a bigger picture in all of it.
Dennis, you mentioned after the last game, Mo Diarra's 10 rebounds and he's 15 minutes playing. Even over the last sort of couple of weeks, how have you seen him grow from where he was a couple of weeks ago, and how's his role and his progress trending?
Yeah, Mo is continuously getting better, and I think you all can see the progress that he's made from the very first time. And maybe the opinion you had, like, who is this guy? Is he really the number one JUCO player in the country? He may take 2 years. Well, it's a process for everybody. There's a race for each guy to run individually, and that's player development. Player development is essential in our program, and everyone has to stay in their lane. You cannot compare yourself to the next man. And Mo has done a great job not comparing himself, but also being patient. And I can say that with a host of other guys in addition to Mo. I just think when you look at the barriers of being a JUCO transfer, but also an international JUCO transfer, it takes time. And you all haven't seen him play up to the potential that I have seen him play at. You haven't seen him dominate at the level that I've seen him dominate. And I truly believe his best basketball is ahead of him. This is a percentage. When I say a percentage of what I expect from him, it's only a percentage. And there has been some days he's looked like the best player in the gym, best player on the team. But does that come consistently? And most of player development, most of those things comes on the shoulders of consistency. So he's learning how to be consistent, but I love what I see. And ultimately it's a progression.
Time for one last question.
Dennis, do you have an update on Trey or Ronnie?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna hold Ronnie out for the next week, without a doubt. Just in terms of just checking out, getting doctor's opinions on his knee to see, the level of sprain that's taking place, but also Trey the same way. I think when you build a team, you have to build it with these things in mind, but also the depth allows you to make decisions that I've made in the past of holding Kobe out. And also when it comes down to Isaiah Mosley being out and then Trey Gomillion, but now Ronnie DeGray. So it just takes patience, man. And I demonstrate patience when it comes down to player safety. And I'll always err on that side of it. So they're in great spirits right now in our program. We just call them coaches. So Coach Gomillion and Coach DeGray, they're doing a good job.
All right. Thanks, Coach.